Why is it that the things in life that are the best for us are literally the very things that are such a pain in the ass to do? Fitness, diet, health, gear. Let's get a pro in here and make some sense out of this senselessness. You wanna? Like you have a choice. Today we are talking about health stuff. You are listening to ADHD Big Brother, the podcast for adults struggling with their ADHD, their comorbid depression, their anxiety. Oh, it's just a hoot. I'm your host and your ADHD Big Brother, Russ Jones. I've got ADHD too. I've got depression as well. It's crap-tastic. So let's learn some stuff. Let's laugh at some stuff. Let's make some commitments to do some stuff. And ladies and gentlemen, here's some stuff. Yeah, welcome to the podcast. The podcast. The ADHD podcast. Did you know that? Yeah. The ADHD podcast. No, it's not the most popular. Not by a long shot. No, it's not backed by science. But to be fair, I haven't really asked for the backing of science. Someday I might. Maybe I'll call up science one day and be like, hey, science, could you get on board over here? Can I get your support? Could you back me up on this? And maybe science will say yes. Until then, we are our own lab rats. The only animal test that we run is on one mammal, ourselves. So let's put it through the ringer, see what happens. Alrighty then. That is a quote from Ace Ventura. Similar to science, I am citing my sources. That was from Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. Let us get to the ADHD Big Brother biz and the mental health report. First, ADHD Big Brother Corp. Our team is just ecstatic about the numbers. I love that. I mean, you know what? You never know. Okay, maybe someday I will have a team. It sounds cool to say. You know, when I sit down with my team and rattle ideas and we're really excited about what we're doing out there, I want to say that someday. In the meantime, it's Russ Jones. Table for one, please. In the meantime, I invented a new way to deal with the brain dump. Ooh, I'm beta testing it with the community members. So I guess I lied about what I just said about lab rats. You're all my lab rats. I'm helping them. People do stuff with their brain dump. Only 20% of them have broken out in hives. One person got the shingles from the stress, and another person, well, we're still looking for them. I imagine they're being very productive wherever they are. But 2 people got their shit together and life got a lot less overwhelming. So ask your doctor if the new system is right for you. It's actually called the system because everybody wants a new system, am I right? So the dumb acronym is SYSTEM. Symbol your shit, then engage mindfully. System. It's magical. Symbols are better than words, and it works for me. Maybe it'll work for you, baby. So that's ADHD Big Brother. That's what's new over there. Mental health report. This is where we talk about our skull spaghetti, right? The good, the bad, the weird. We're trying to normalize having a conversation about what's going on up in the old ticker. It's not always great. It's not always fine. I have this past week, I've had no struggles with my mental health. So my mental health, I feel pretty good, like a Jedi. I'm at one with the Force. Strong it is in me. Skull spaghetti. Stop it. Okay, how are you doing? Reach out, ADHDBigBrother.com/contact Russ, one word. You reach out and you tell me how you're doing. How the hexkadingles are you? I'm interested. Okay, enough is enough. Let's talk fitness. It's not my strong suit. We got to bring in a ringer for this one. We got ADHD fitness coach Lucy Cooke on the line today. Lucy is the founder and head coach of Lift Your Life Coaching, a fitness coaching company that specializes in supporting neurodivergent individuals to make health and fitness fit their brains. That sounds good. She specializes in helping people break the stop-start cycles and utilize exercise and nutrition to thrive in mind and body. I would like that, please. Thank you very much. I had the pleasure of being on her podcast. She's also the host of the Not Your Neurotypical Fitness podcast, and we talked recently about productivity over there, and that link will be in the show notes. But for now, let's talk fitness. Here's me asking Lucy why fitness is so hard for ADHDers. Let's go there now. Why is fitness so hard for adults with ADHD? Let's start with the hardest, the biggest cloud over us. Why is it so goddamn hard?
Oh, what a question, just going straight in at the deep end. I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. So when it comes to fitness and ADHD, there's so many reasons because you genuinely tend to find, and what I tend to see with the people that I work with
Mhm.
is you've got two camps of people, and you'll see this a lot in manifestations of ADHD. You'll have the people that go kind of all in on something with that perfectionist mindset and hyper focus and almost mask that they're finding it hard. And then you'll have the people that can't get started. And we see this in education, right? And one of the reasons that I think I slipped the cracks with education was I really struggled with classic education systems.
Okay.
And because I was such a high achiever, perfectionist, from the gifted and talented, smart kid, I worked so hard to get good grades and overcompensated. So it looked like I had it together. And that manifested for me in fitness. So I struggled at first with getting into routines, and then became a whole personality. And then became a fitness trainer. So everyone's like, oh, what? You have ADHD? ADHD struggle to do things. So when it comes to ADHD, then one of the reasons why we do struggle is dopamine chasing. So as we know, dopamine is the interest chemical. Now, this is where people can become obsessed, like, oh, I'm going to start running, and then it becomes their whole personality because of that element of interest. And that's usually when you start a routine, it feels exciting, it feels fun, and you start a new gym, you're like, this is it. But over time, that dopamine initial high goes, and the interest and it goes, and all that running gear that you've bought is suddenly in dust, and other things feel more stimulating because that novelty of something new, that initial dopamine stimulation, is gone. And this is when you'll see either people start really well and absolutely smash it and, like, go to the gym every day, smashing the runs, and then it's gone. Or you can also see the other manifestation of it doesn't stop becoming their personality. And it goes from, okay, I'm going to do this to be fitter, to be healthier, to it becoming obsessive. And we see a lot of ADHDers in the world
Yeah.
of bodybuilding and extremes because of that dopamine high of doing extreme things. Like that's where I fell into, because lifting really heavy, scary weights and pushing my body through dieting gave me a bit of dopamine too. So in both respects of starting strong and not sticking it through, and
Yeah.
starting and becoming too obsessive because of this element of dopamine, are one of the biggest challenges we see with ADHD, because neither are healthy, right? To start, stop isn't great because you're never getting good consistently.
Oh yeah. And you
But
feel like crappy about yourself.
yes,
That's sort of my camp. That's the camp that I'm in, right?
yes,
There was a time when I was very fit, and then sank into a depression, and then couldn't. I don't even like exercising. So now, how do I do a thing, right? This is a big question for you, right? How do I do a thing that has no there I do feel good after a workout, but that
yes,
doesn't compel me to do the workout. I don't,
yes,
the me in the moment fucking hates working out. So it's like that has been like one of my big challenges of like, how do you do a thing that you know is good for you, that you know you want to do, but you
yes,
can't do?
yes. So when it comes to this, this is where we need to bring in those five key core motivators of ADHD to understand what can you do to make it work for you. Because I fundamentally, at my core, believe that there is a form of moving our body that everyone can vibe with. It doesn't mean that
Okay.
you're going to love it. It doesn't mean it's going to be your best mate, but I think everyone can vibe with. And there will be, things that are trendy, things that people say you should do, but it's spending some time exploring, well, what is it that I enjoy? What is it that's going to help me? So if we break down those five key motivators, you've got competition, novelty, urgency, importance, and interest. So interest is this idea of it's interesting to you. It's fun to you. And the way I train, the way I exercise is fun to me, so it interests me. So if something just feels, nah, it's not of interest,
Yeah.
you are going to keep it up. So ways that we can do that, I mean, there's so many ways that you can keep it interesting. So
Okay.
this could be, obviously your classic fitness coach will say things like, be consistent, do the same thing on repeat all the time, get stronger, get faster. And yes, on paper, that makes sense. But actually, maybe doing new things is what keeps it interesting. So maybe you try different gym classes. Maybe you try change the environment. Sometimes you're starting a new gym.
Yeah.
Maybe it's something as simple as changing your routine up. So something I do with a lot of my clients, what's optimal is maybe to run a training program for 3-4 months, get progressively stronger. Some of my clients need something new every month to keep it interesting. I will often just do something as simple as change up my gym playlist. New songs. It keeps it interesting.
Oh, that's brilliant. Okay. Okay.
It's just keeping things interesting. And it doesn't need to be like, starting a new, some people do want to go and get a new gym, a new environment. Like I know that my motivation for the gym, when I moved house a few months ago, I started a new gym. And it was like being a kid at Christmas. It was like new equipment and new environment. And I felt amazing. So sometimes that can be really helpful. You've then got urgency, and this idea of, creating deadlines. Like if it
Mhm.
doesn't feel immediate, I think we spoke about this yesterday. I'll do it later.
Yeah.
I'll do it never. Then
I'll do
basically,
it. That's it. Yeah.
it's
100%.
basically this translation, isn't it?
Right.
It really is. So creating these little moments of pressure for activation can help. So one thing I recommend all my clients do, and I think we spoke about this yesterday, is booking things in. Get your calendar and book it
Yeah.
in, and book it in like an appointment. So a lot of my clients will be fantastic at, booking in. I need to pick my child up at 3 p.m. I need to book in my doctor, but the gym, I'll be as and when. But if you book it in like a doctor's appointment, not only is it there, it's physically in your calendar, but from like psychological perspective, it's got urgency, it's got importance because it's put on that same
Yeah.
pedestal as picking up the child, which you wouldn't not do, going to the doctor's appointment, which ideally you wouldn't not do. So that can be really helpful.
I love
And
that.
sometimes just telling someone can be really helpful. Like rather than telling your partner, I'm going to try and gym this week, you tell your partner, I'm going at 4 p.m. because we can kind of leverage this idea of
Yes.
failure and rejection in a positive way of like, we don't want to, I don't want to tell someone I'm doing something and not do it. So that can create that like accountability and urgency. Body doubling and buddy checking up. So maybe
Hmm.
you have a friend that you go to the gym class with, or a friend that you go play the sport with, and you don't want to let someone down. Again, it's that idea of kind of leveraging the idea of the rejection sensitivity in a positive way because you're doing it for a positive reason. Or like booking onto a class. Like quite a lot of my clients like to book onto classes, or like we have like in the UK something called park run. I don't know if you've got it, where every Saturday in a local park there's a run, and these
Wow.
sort of things can be awesome. Then you've got competition. And this is that idea of challenge and trying to beat things. So you can compete with yourself. So I have a little notebook. I don't like apps. I like having my little pen and paper.
Yeah.
Um, I've
Same.
made my own. And I love going into the gym, looking what I did last week and going, right, I'm going to beat that. I'm going to beat that. It makes it a bit fun. But also,
I love
you
that.
might be able to do it with things. So something that's kind of created that bit of competition in me is I've booked my first half marathon for next year. And I'm not a runner. I'm I can run, but I'm not a runner. But that idea of competition, of challenge is exciting to me. It's given me some motivation. Whereas if it was just to run maybe 5K, which I can do, it wouldn't give me that. So maybe joining challenges, and it doesn't have to be a marathon or a high rocks or anything like that. It could be, maybe your gym has like a local challenge. Maybe you do it with friends. Like just give yourself a bit of a challenge. And that could also be a consistency challenge of, something I do with my clients is we'll gamify it. Right. If you go to the
Hmm.
gym 10 times at 10 point, you get a point every time you go. Reward yourself. Just get a little t-shirt, buy something off Amazon, just something fun. And that can create competition too. Novelty, and that's something new, we get dopamine from it. So this is where kind of going against that classic fitness grain of do the same, repeat it is wonderful. So it could be rotating workouts. It could be refreshing your program more than what is optimal just to keep it fun and keep it exciting. Something that works quite well with my clients is just injecting tiny little bits of novelty here and there. So when you feel like the motivation's going, get yourself a new gym t-shirt, get yourself a new gym water bottle, get yourself a new gym supplement, get yourself something new. Because I know myself, if I get a new t-shirt or something, I'm so excited to wear it and go to the gym and be like, a new t-shirt. So that can really work. Well, like kids,
Awesome.
it works well. And then the final one is importance. And that's that deep meaning to us, right?
Yeah.
And we are very, very deep thinkers with ADHD. Like we like those deeper things, but we often avoid connecting with ourselves deeply. And usually it's because it comes with maybe not so nice things of like consequences, and we don't want to think about that. But if you can think about your deeper why for working out rather than, I just want a six pack, or it's good, like really understanding it from a physical and emotional perspective, from the good and the bad. And I call them push and pull motivators. Push is what gets you started. Pull is what you want to go to. So a push motivator might be maybe you just got told by your doctor that you're like pre-diabetic, or maybe you tried on a t-shirt or a dress and it didn't fit very good and it's not a nice feeling. That's activation energy because it doesn't feel good. A pull might be that when you were saying, I know when I work out, I feel good. That's a pull motivator. I am so much more focused. I'm so much more productive. I'm so much happier and a nicer person to be around when I move. And today was one of those days where, if I'm honest, I'm quite tired. I had a lot of work to do. And I was like, I don't really want to go do a run. But I knew my productivity, my energy, my positivity would be up here. So I did it because I was excited by that feeling. Maybe that exciting feeling is, well, when I do drop those few pounds and I feel really confident, that's amazing. So being connected to those is really powerful. For what we were speaking about yesterday, that getting something done, that activation. If you can really think about both the push and the pull, you've got this, holy shit, I don't want to feel like this energy. And this, oh my God, that's something I really want energy. And if you can bring those two together, it gets you moving.
That's super interesting. That sounds like some good thought work to do in advance, like
Yes.
when coming up with a plan. I'm literally taking this and thinking about for myself, because there's a
Yeah.
few things that you said I want to touch on that I'm
Yeah.
geeking out about right now. But
Yeah.
when I think of how something is important, it never translates into my moment. But if I did enough of the work in advance
Mm,
to make it loud enough internally, that maybe that can inform how I schedule my workouts. And
mm,
part of my workout is to have that top of mind,
yes.
almost like a checklist. Like before you start workout, know what your push and your pull is. Like
Yes.
say that to yourself or something. But I'm a
Yes.
total nerd for competition.
Yes.
For myself, oh my God, I'm a nerd for it. I would do those pull up and push up challenges. Those get
Yes.
me through. Like, okay, I did 5, 5, and 7. Okay, next on Tuesday, I'm gonna try to do 6, 6, and 8 or something like that. And so you're constantly trying to build on it. Oh my God, I need to get back to that.
Yeah.
The other one was and this resonates to a lot of us, and even outside of fitness, but like in addiction or other things where you go tell
Yeah.
somebody that you're going to work out at 4. It doesn't guarantee that you're going to work out, but the idea in the back of your head, like they might check on me and follow up. They might ask me how the workout went and how's that going to feel. There's some element of that that is like, oh shit, now I have to do it. I love
It's
that.
more commitment. Yeah. It's something that I will get clients to do a bit. So when I see in their check-ins that they're gonna maybe they've fallen off a little bit, they've been poorly, they want to get back into it this week. I will never just accept I'm gonna do it this week. I'm like, okay, what day? Can we Thursday? What time? And then
Yes.
I will sometimes actually even schedule it to drop them a message and be like, hey, it's Thursday 12, we're in that gym. But the reason that I know that they avoid it is because it's that like when I commit, I'm committing and it's a bigger thing. But
Yeah.
saying it out loud, telling someone, you're much more likely to do that thing.
Oh, for sure. Like the more specific the commitment, the more likely. I'm the same way with you. Like anytime somebody gives me a vague, like, I'm going to get to it this week, I'm like, no, you're not. You already gave yourself the loophole to get out of it.
Exactly. Because that's what it is, isn't it? If it's like, oh, I'll do it this week, there's so much nuance to that. It's
Yeah.
almost like subconscious self-sabotage to not actually do it. Whereas it's like, well, no, like that specificity. I think the reason we avoid specificity is it's a black or a white. I do it, I don't. And it's that fear of rejection and fear of getting it wrong. But actually, what we
Yeah.
need to frame that as is you're actually putting the odds of achieving it so much higher by doing that.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. I love it. Yeah. Put it in your calendar, man. That's a great challenge for everybody. What is your story with with ADHD, if you mind me asking, or if you do mind me asking, then I really want to know. If you
I don't care
don't
either.
mind me asking, what is your,
Yes,
I guess, origin story? I mean, when did you
absolutely.
become superhuman? I don't know.
Absolutely. So obviously it's been something that's been a part of my life, and I was not quite as late diagnosed as you, but still late diagnosed at 25. I'm 27 now, so it's been just over 2 years.
Oh, okay.
That's 24. It was about 1.5 years ago, 1.5 years ago, I want to say, just shy of 2 years ago now. And my growing up understanding of ADHD, it was very much that the naughty boy, hyperactive,
Yeah.
that was what it was. And actually, my mum is a teacher, and she used to make like jokes of like it was all like the naughty boys who just drank energy drinks for breakfast sort of thing. So that was my conception of it. And
Okay.
obviously, what, like maybe 3, 4, 5 years ago, it just started to become a bit more spoken about. And it was actually two of the girls that I worked with at one point. They used to say to me things like, "Oh, it's so ADHD, Lucy," and a bit like, people say, "Oh, I feel a bit depressed when they're sad," and just make jokes out of it. And I
Yeah.
honestly never thought anything of it at all. And it was one day that I had a fitness coach myself because I made a commitment. I'd been in these extremes,
Yeah.
of disordered eating on both ends of the spectrum, and my health was really bad. So I'm actually on HRT. My hormones are pretty messed up from the extreme dieting. And
Okay.
I just got to a point where I said, right, enough's enough. I need to do the work. I really need to do it. And I hired a coach to help me on my mindset and relationship with food, which is really hard, but amazing. And I remember toying the idea with her, and I just said it as a passing comment. And she said to me, well, actually, Luce, I'm obviously not going to diagnose you, but what we do know is there is these massive correlations with the struggles you've had with food and ADHD. There are quite a lot of manifestations that I've seen on my end. Maybe just go explore it. And that was it. It was a penny drop. And as we do with ADHD, we go down rabbit holes.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
was researching it, and I was buying the books on Amazon. And it was just like the way I describe it is like turning the lights on. I was like, oh my God, that
Mhm.
makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense. And I was in a privileged position at that point to be able to get a private diagnosis because I
Mhm.
had I mean, in the UK, it's literally double, tripled in the last year or so. So back then it wasn't too much of a stretch for me to do that because I
Mhm.
needed the answer. The wait list was like 3 to 5 years. So got on the wait list, passed the pre-screening, had the diagnosis, and it was a very strange time of my life because it was like, okay, I've just now got this label, this thing that explains it. And I'm not the same person, but also everything's changed.
Yeah.
And for me, it just gave me so much understanding and acceptance of, well, everything, but in the context of health and fitness. Why was I someone that struggled with binge eating, overeating, um, really, for a while, and then became anorexic? Then how the hell did I end up back binge eating, emotional eating, not going to the gym or exercising at all, to then make fitness my whole entire personality, to then basically do bodybuilding, to then gain why, how?
Yeah.
And it explained everything. And it was for me then that I went on this sort of exploration journey of really learning how to find that healthy balance with it. And then ultimately, more so this year, and being more open about it and
Yeah.
speaking to my clients about it and helping them through it. That's what gave me this spark to go, I need to create a space in the fitness industry, a little corner that specializes in this because we can't
Oh,
do things the typical way.
yeah.
but we need to find a way, because it just makes me sad knowing that there's so many people out there who struggle either to not get started with their weight, with their health. And, being 27 on the surface, that look, I look great, I go to the gym, but internally there's so much wrong with me from these extremes.
Mm.
And some of it isn't fixable, like my fertility is questionable, and that's really sad. So the mission for me is more than just, get people shredded and get six packs and do photo shoots. It's helping
Right.
to be the healthiest version of themselves up here, but also in the body too.
And just so everybody knows on this podcast, she pointed to her head when she said up here. The
Okay, yeah, yes.
well, like where did she said up here? Where is she talking about? Her chin. She was actually pointing at her chin. No. Can you talk about the disordered eating a little bit? Because so many of us struggle with the food component of
Yes,
fitness. It's a
absolutely.
motherfucker, right? Like I come from addiction of like nicotine and over drinking and over weed smoking in my 20s, but I would get locked in to food that's bad for me and be
Mhm.
like, I would get locked in. Like, this is my every night's a cheeseburger and fries and a Coke every single night because that was my way.
Yes.
And I hear about people that will like something happens at night and they just go to town on their pantry.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that? And then
Yeah.
maybe some ideas on ways to find a way out of that?
Sure. So if we kind of go down that route of the overeating, that was a big
Okay.
part of my teens. And when it comes to sort of the overeating side of it, it's usually something that we formulate in childhood. And we see this in, ADHD populations and not, where at some point in our childhood, food is used as a regulatory tool. So maybe
Mm.
for good or bad. So maybe you've had a really bad day and your parents were like, no, it's okay, we'll take you to McDonald's, or, to feel better or whatever, or you have like injections, or it can be a reward. So you win, you pass your exams, you win first prize at something, and we celebrate with food. And we create these positive associations and emotional support from food. Food is there to celebrate. It's a celebratory emotional thing, and it can help us when we're feeling down. And over time, we learn that, and the brain learns that. And remember, with ADHD, we have lower baseline dopamine, right?
Hmm.
So our brain is always just trying to get us to that normal level. That's all our brain's trying to ever do. And if it's learned through experience and repetition that when you eat these really high dopamine foods, we go up to baseline, well, what does it do? It drives you to eat them. And growing up is really hard, and being an adult is really hard. Like it's stressful, it's hard. And this is where it really kicked off for me. Being a teenager is not a nice time. It's dealing with, I didn't really fit in school, which I now know was the ADHD. And I was never really bullied, but I just never felt like I
Yeah.
fit in anywhere. And food then became a way to cope. So not only was my brain trying to get me up to that normal level of dopamine, but it was, dopamine was even lower because I was feeling just really down about, God, everyone says these teenage years, the best years of your life. And I hate it. And the rejection sensitivity of not being invited to the parties because I wasn't quite that cool, and all these things going on. So food became a coping source, and it does for a lot of people with ADHD. And the problem with food is that it's like drugs and alcohol. These high dopamine foods, they go straight into your system. You get that whack of dopamine, but it's gone very quickly. And that's where binge eating cycles can come in, because you have some chocolate, it feels good, you get the dopamine hit, it's amazing, and then it's gone. So you have more chocolate. And
Yeah.
this is where it's not just about have a bit of chocolate, you feel better, move on. People get in these cycles of,
Yeah.
like I said, the whole shebang, the fridge, everything. They're ordering in food. Like I
Yeah.
used to remember, I ate so much that I would end up hiding wrappers. I had a little drawer under my bed. I remember hiding them because I was so deep. It wasn't just I wasn't having a biscuit after school. I'd eat the whole packet. Like,
Yeah.
it was extremes.
Yeah, but there's no the answer to this is not okay, you got first prize, we're all gonna have carrot sticks. Like nobody be like, what the fuck is your prize? No, I want the chocolate. Well, how do you end up getting on the other end of that?
Yeah. I think the first thing is understanding the why. I've actually just recorded
Mhm.
a YouTube video for my YouTube, obviously, on this. Is where else? is understanding, well, why? Because I think so many people feel that they're broken. Like, I just thought I was this food obsessed weirdo. Like, maybe I'm just a foodie, and these self labels. So it's being able to detach from self labels of like, I've got no willpower, or I'm a foodie, or I've got no, whatever negative, self limiting label it is, to detach from that and just understand all your brain is trying to do is its job. You're not a bad person. You're not weak. You're not greedy. Your brain's just trying to get level headed dopamine. That's
Okay.
all it's trying to do. So what you need to understand is that when we have these cravings for food, it's usually a signal that we want to feel better or we want more dopamine. So what I get my clients to do is look at ways that we can make sure that we're consciously injecting dopamine into our day, into our week, into our life, because we often don't. We see doing fun things and self-care as maybe a weekend thing, a nice thing to do when we've got time.
Ah,
But actually, we should be creating dopamine. If you've got lower levels of dopamine, you create dopamine. And I look at it like, look, if you have type 1 diabetes, you inject that insulin because it's you're deficient, you inject it.
mhm.
If you're deficient in vitamin D, you take your vitamin D supplement every day. We're deficient in dopamine, so we need to ensure that we're almost prescribing ourselves with dopamine daily. And that can look different for everyone. And I say this is where we create these like dopamine menus. I think it's not my term. I got it from someone else.
I've
But
heard it. Yeah.
loads of different ways you can get dopamine. So it could be the small little daily habits of making sure that you get out and try and get some sunshine, because sunlight, vitamin D can help with dopamine and serotonin production. It could be something that you look forward to in the future. So it could be, apologies of my dog coming there. It could be booking a holiday or a trip or whatever. It could be something that you look forward to tonight. So anticipate, I don't know if you know this, but the anticipation of something brings us as much joy as the thing itself. So I often plan like nice little evening routines. Like tonight, we're gonna put on a candle, watch a really nice film, and that's given me dopamine. Just thinking about doing that
Oh,
after
yeah.
this call. It could be arranging to see a friend. It could be exercising, but usually it's a sign that we're not getting enough dopamine. And then usually as well with ADHDers, it's making sure that their food habits are not making it harder rather than easier. So what I mean by this is if you're skipping meals, maybe if you're on the medication, your appetite's low, or you're not time blindness. Oh, I've got a client at the moment who we're really trying to work through that. Like she'll get started on her work and then it's 6 p.m. and she hasn't eaten all day. Now, if
Mm.
you've not eaten all day and your blood sugars are lower, or you're trying to really be good, you're more vulnerable to overeat because because again of that deficiency, you're deficient
Oh,
in blood
man.
sugar. So making sure like you are regularly eating a good amount, meals with protein, with fiber, you're hydrated, because that's not necessarily going to take the craving away, but it's just putting you in a better position. A way that I would describe it is if, like when you go and do a workout, right? You can't ever guarantee that you'll have a really good workout. But if you go into that workout with sleep, with hydration, with food in you, you're in a much better position to be able to get that PB or to have a good session because you're just making life easier for yourself. And a lot of people with ADHD don't, for whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes me think of the fact that like we're kind of in service of more likely, right? Nothing is a guarantee that you're going to do a thing or that you're going to not binge or whatever it is, but you're setting yourself up to be more likely to be successful with it. I love that. That's super helpful.
Yes.
Um, this is super helpful information. Here's what I'm taking from it because I'm extrapolating for myself and my working out. I really want to get back into a steady routine of
Hmm.
working out. It's super hard for me, but I telling people that I'm going to do a thing helps me. So I'm going to
Yeah.
double down on that.
Yeah.
And food, the thing that I've been missing has been like you talked about your client that would go till 6 p.m. and not eat. I'm guilty of that.
Yeah.
I'll wake up and I will get right into work, make my kid food, get him to school, and then I'm just onto the computer, onto working. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And being, I'm literally just trying to manufacture like, okay, so how Lucy's helping me. So how am I going to do this? I think what I need to do, and you corroborate, you tell me if this is right or wrong. Plan my days eating in advance.
Yes.
So I know when I'm going to eat my breakfast, my lunch, and my dinner, and I will have thoughtfully thought about, I will have thinked the thoughts to think about, this is a nutritious day.
Yes.
Does that sound right?
Yeah. So what I get
Okay.
my clients to do a lot of the time, because the reason as well people struggle with ADHD with eating anything or making balanced meals is that decision paralysis. Because usually we have, a multitude of things in our cupboards, in our fridges, in our freezers, and it's like, but what do I have? What do I do? And then obviously, if you're like rushing between meetings, it's going to be default or just grab something. So I
Yeah.
suggest to clients is plan your meals in advance, because then in advance you can make sure that you're building it on those foundations. So I like to think about building meals with ADHD rather than thinking about creating these really fancy recipes where there's 101 steps and already you're like, oh my God. I
Yeah.
think it's a bit like you've got Build-A-Bear over in America, where you go and get the
Yeah.
bear and
Yeah. Yeah.
like the stations. So I just think of it like Build-A-Bear, like, right, step one, have some sort of protein, have some sort of fiber, fruit, veg, then maybe a fat and carb. That's it. Keep it simple. Build your ideas like that. Know what you're having, know when you're going to have them. And then there's far less decision paralysis. There's far less,
Yes.
oh, do I want it? Do I not? It's just do it. And if you can create really simple things easy as well and maybe prep them, then then you haven't got that, oh my God, I've got to cook this and chop that. It can be as simple as
Yeah.
some wraps, some tortilla wraps. You've got some pre-cooked meat, chicken, ham. You've got some salad. You could throw that salad in the wrap it up. That's a healthy, balanced meal because you've got carbs, fiber, veg, protein. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be a big fancy
Man.
stir fry thing. Like it doesn't at
Yeah.
all.
I end up like I can really speak to this because I know when I'm too hungry, when I've gone past the point of like when I'm really, really hungry, I instantly go to bread. Something bready and fat or muffins or chips or something it tends to be junky. I don't
Mhm.
know what that just tends to be my default because
And
everything else feels like it takes more energy.
it's the energy. And also, if you've gone a long time without eating and you're remember what I spoke about, your body's trying to always get you back to balance. So
Yeah,
it's always
yeah.
to balance with dopamine, but also it's trying to get us to get to balance with energy and blood sugars. So if you've gone a long period of time without any sort of calories or nutrition,
Uh-huh.
your brain's like, well, we need calories, we need energy, we need our blood sugars to be regulated. And that's usually where these kind of things come in that are a bit more high in calories or high in sugars, because it's just trying to do its job. It's
Yeah. Oh,
you have not eaten all day, an apple is not going to really give you much energy, is it? Like there's not much energy. It's good for you as it is. It's not going to do much for you. So your body's just trying to do its job. But that's where that regular pattern comes in. And then because your blood sugars are regulated, your energy is more balanced. Those cravings are like going to be so much. They're not going to be anywhere near as intense. It's like that whole thing of don't go into a supermarket hungry, isn't it? Like because you
yeah.
end
Yeah.
buying loads of random stuff. It's the same with our food choices. Like if you're much more regulated, you can make much better decisions. Like I know myself, my decisions are always better when my hunger is more managed.
That's brilliant. Oh my God, this is super helpful. What if somebody is listening to this and wants to work with you and stuff and learn more about you? How are we doing that?
Amazing. So I would say first and foremost, come hang out on social media because I put content out every day. I've got the podcast as well. So my podcast, which we had the
Yeah.
wonderful Russ on as well, they're not your neurotypical fitness. And I'm on Instagram and TikTok, Lucy_Lift Your Life. In terms
Okay.
of working with me, I have a few ways you can work with me. So there's one-to-one where I work with a very small cohort of women, because I actually like to get to know my clients. Like we were discussing yesterday, yes, most of my clients are neurodivergent, but it manifests in very different ways.
Yeah.
So there will be some sort of inquiry form on my social media. And then I am running a program very soon, which is all around this idea of the food and ADHD and how is it that we can overcome that. It's more about the binge sort of cycles and the constant food preoccupation that a lot of people suffer with ADHD. So I'm running a program for that in the very end of November, the week of Black Friday, the 24th of November.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, and at the time of this podcast coming out, I think it will be £29.99 UK pounds, which I think is about 20. I don't know what that is in dollars. I can never work
I don't either.
But I do have a code for podcast. If you use the code podcast at the checkout as well, that's 20% off. So
Perfect. Great.
It's a bargain. It's a steal, and it's designed for that specific element of the ADHD in the food. So yeah.
Oh my God, that's so freaking awesome. And then you're coming into the ADHD Big Brother community, right? It'll be next week, whenever this comes out, I believe.
Yes.
What are we going to learn? What are you going to?
So we're going to go into a little bit of what we spoke about today, but deeper. And the whole idea is just how do you work with your ADHD brain with fitness so that you don't feel like you're constantly fighting it? Because like you were saying at the start,
yeah,
God, it's like a battle to do this with fitness. I don't want people to feel like it's a war that they're trying to just make it work. Whereas actually, when you understand how your brain works, it's not going to be a piece of cake. It's probably the wrong phrase to use that way. It's healthy.
A piece of healthy carrot pie. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, 100%.
Barf.
But it shouldn't feel impossible. And I do fundamentally believe when you can do it right, it's something that can really enhance your life. Like, I could not imagine a life now without keeping healthy and fit. And that's not because I was some little weirdo that came out of the womb doing dumbbell curls. And it's because I've learned how to enhance my life, enhance my mood, my energy, my confidence. And that's why I'm consistent, not because I'm willpower, disciplined, hardcore fitness human. Just because I'm so aware of how much it benefits me, and I'm more focused on that. And again, how do I make it fit? How do I be consistent? I'm not unique to anyone else with ADHD. I've just learned the systems, and that'll be what I'm sharing with you guys.
Oh my God, I cannot wait. That is so awesome. Because literally fitness and eating, those for me are my mountains. Those are the ones that I can do dumb shit. I can do boring. I'm a productivity guy, right? And the working out is like this, any extra strategy I can get, any extra eating help I can get. I'm like, please help me. So I cannot wait to talk to you more. And I really appreciate you coming on and talking to us.
Amazing. Thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute privilege.
Great insights, man. What an awesome conversation. Thank you, Lucy, for being here. And you guys, get your asses down in the show notes and click those links. Connect with Lucy. Go watch the YouTube interview we had, sign up for her program, come to her presentation, connect with her on the social thingies. All that is in the show notes. Go explore. And as always, if you guys are getting something out of this podcast, anything really, if you're getting anything really out of it, please click on the share button, share this on your social thingies. And that'll help us grow this lovely little podcast. And I thank you. And with that, I hope you guys have a fantastic week. And I shall talk to you later.